Rabbi Manis Friedman. Hello, thank God it's Tuesday. And as I just said to our audience, very timely, you came out with a book to win a war the Jewish way, because the way the UN has voted yesterday, I don't think we have any other options than to win this war the Jewish way. But what exactly does it mean to win this war the Jewish way? Because it seems like we're really alone in this now, but we're never alone because God is with us. So what do? They're saying to stop fighting, but can we ignore the whole world, go against absolutely everybody? Because this is what I think this means right now. And how do we go about it?
Can we ignore the whole world? We do it all the time. Our very existence is ignoring the whole world. So that's nothing new. That's the Jewish way. We're all alone. We've always been all alone. And we've always succeeded. We're here, our enemies are gone. Like the comedian says, what is Hamas thinking? Don't they know we'll just write another Megillah? When they're gone, we're going to have another Megillah? Yeah, that's what's going to be. Yes, we've always been alone. And the more comfortable we are with being alone, the more powerful we are and the more successful we are. We've got to stop playing the game as if we're working with the world. We're not. We're not.
Rabbi Friedman, so what does it mean? We ignore everybody, we continue fighting, nobody helps us from the, obviously, because this is what it means, that no one is going to support what we're doing anymore. And realistically, a very, very scary scene comes to mind, which happened about 80 years ago during the Holocaust, when a rabbi was teaching children, and the Holocaust was happening in the midst of Holocaust, and he was teaching children the Torah, and people came in and said, what are you doing? You're studying Torah, you're going to get killed. You're going to get killed in a second. You got to run, you got to hide, you got to get away, you got to hide the children, you have to protect yourself. And he looked at them and he continued learning the Torah with the children. Unfortunately, they all perished. So when we think about ignoring the world or doing our thing, isn't that a little bit suicidal? I really don't want to say that, but basically, is that what it is?
So what were we thinking, or what were the original Zionists thinking in the 20s, 30s, 40s? Was it all suicidal? Or did they think the world would love us? And that we would have the protection of the world? In 48, it seemed pretty clear we have nobody's protection. We're all on our own. It didn't stop us. In fact, we had magnificent success. We've got to realize we are different. Stop trying to be like everybody else, because it's not working. We are different. And if we're uncomfortable with that difference, then it weakens us. If we're strong in our being different, then we're indestructible. So the solution right now is, we're doing the right thing, the world is wrong. Again. Not the first time. Avraham was right, everybody else was wrong. Everybody was worshiping idols. So we're alone. It's okay. And again, this example that we used very often, In a classroom, there are many students, but there's only one teacher, and he's all alone. There is no other teacher with him. That's okay. It's the way it's supposed to be. So yes, we are alone because we are the teacher. That is not a weakness. That's a strength. Two teachers would be confusing to the students. Only one teacher. But we got to teach. Now is the opportunity. You see, as much as the world is against us, the world keeps focusing all attention on us. So it's kind of a confusing message. Jews are the center of all attention and nobody wants the Jews. Really? So why are we in the center of attention? It's like everybody hates Trump, but you can't stop talking about Trump. He's such a loser, right? And yet he gets all the attention. So we can't be intimidated. It is not scary to be alone. We have always been alone. And this Zionist idea that we will now become a welcomed and honored member in the UN, don't make jokes. We're not a student. We are the teacher. People gathered at the UN, they are the students. They just don't know it yet. So the UN is a big classroom, and it needs a teacher. And there is no teacher except Israel. As soon as we become the teacher, everything will be fine. People are against us, people are for us for absolutely no reason. The wind blows this way, it blows the other way. They're completely unpredictable. They're just students in a classroom. The only way the classroom can make any sense is if the teacher teaches. So let's teach.
Rabbi Friedman, right now that means just continue doing what we're doing.
Do it better.
How do we do it better? What should we do right now? I mean, Netanyahu, thank God, is not stopping. And he is promising not to stop. I hope that continues.
Yeah. I don't understand. How long has this action in the Shifa hospital been going on?
At least 4 months, I think.
In one hospital? How many rooms does this hospital have? And every day they announce 700 prisoners, 400 prisoners. I don't understand this. What's going on in this hospital? It should take one day. Look, it's absolutely a miracle that it seems like Israel agreed to an exchange of hostages for terrorists. The miracle is Hamas said no. You can always rely on Hamas to say no. But the fact that Israel even considered is a weakening of our position. It slows us down, it complicates everything, and it makes us sound unsure and maybe even guilty. Not only should we finish the war, we should finish it a lot faster and open up new settlements and settle Gaza once and for all. Enough with these games. The fact that the world, anyone in the world, can still talk about a two-state solution, we're doing something wrong. Why doesn't the world know there is not going to be two states? Why don't they know that yet? Because we don't speak clearly and with confidence. It's time. And when we do that with confidence, the world will be with us, not against us.
Rabbi Friedman, I keep on going back to the letter that was written by the father of the Lubavitcher Rebbe about, which was like probably over 100 years ago. There was still obviously no Israel at that point, no state of Israel, yet he very clearly said that when we take over Gaza, that's when Mashiach is going to come. He wrote it in, I even have it here, it's page 452 in the Torah of Levi Yitzhak Schneerson. And that's when the third temple is going to be built. I mean, what can we make out of it? Was that a prophecy?
It certainly was, but there have been other prophecies. One prophecy is when Tyre falls, Mashiach will come. It doesn't mean the day that it happens, Mashiach will come. It means that before Mashiach can come, these things have to happen. So yes, Gaza has to become part of Israel. After that, Mashiach can come. So we're trying to play some kind of a diplomatic game with the world, and it's not working. It hasn't worked for a single day since the beginning of the state. Talk straight, talk like a Jew. The world will respect you. When you play these games, everybody suspects you. Truth is powerful. I think people have forgotten that.
Rabbi Friedman, a lot of people are in denial still about what happened on October 7th. There is a movie. There is a 47-minute movie out there that shows the atrocities. We've been asked not to watch it, and we've been asked not to show it. Is that wrong or right?
That's probably correct. Two things. First of all, looking at horrible scenes is not a healthy thing to do. You'll never get it out of your mind. It's not good. It's not healthy. Secondly, we can't make the mistake of thinking that this is unprecedented. These atrocities happen all the time. Wherever there's a war, there are atrocities. It has always been that way. When the first temple was destroyed, the Babylonians that exiled us from the land, they killed babies for sport. It's not new. When people are unleashed from all restraints, they're animalistic. So don't be shocked. This is what people are without a teacher and without a moral guide. They will fall to the lowest level of barbarism. So people say, oh, we haven't seen this since the Holocaust. All right, it hasn't been that long. And before the Holocaust, by the first temple, by the second temple, during the Inquisition, the Crusaders, the pogroms, Khmelnytsky's pogroms, bashing babies, burning babies, nothing new. We just thought, foolishly, that the world had outgrown that. It hasn't outgrown it. It's happening in many places in the world. We're horrified that it was captured on film. Like somebody said, it's not so much what they did, it's how much they enjoy doing it.
Rabbi Friedman.
So fine. Yeah.
But all those people that are coming out for human rights, if they actually saw with their own eyes what they're trying to protect right now, wouldn't they change their mind? Don't we have at least it? What is happening with you? I mean, shouldn't we at least believe that there's a possibility that if they knew the truth, they would be making different decisions right now? And
if they knew the truth, how bad the massacre was is not the truth. It's a massacre. And the world is very jaded. Seeing scenes of horrors, they look at it all the time in movies and horror movies, and bloodshed is like entertainment. No, it won't change much. Those who are sensitive souls will be affected, but that's a tiny minority. But there's another thing to know about the truth. It turns out that there was a plan that Hamas was following. While this was going on in the song festival and in the outposts over there, there was supposed to be another attack at the same time in Tel Aviv and in Dimona, I think. And they were targeting the most populated areas of Tel Aviv. And as soon as they started with Tel Aviv, Hezbollah was going to come into the fight as well. That was the plan. How come that never happened? Nobody knows. Absolute miracle. That somehow that part of the plan just never took off. So there are horrors to the story and there are miracles to the story. The whole story we were not going to know for a while. But here's the main point of it all. We can't constantly complain of victimhood. The world gets tired of it. Ay, we're the victims. Ay, what they did to us. Ay, they're so bad. So what are you doing about it? We gotta stop kvetching. If you really think they're that bad, why do the Hamas still exist? If you're convinced that they gotta go and must be destroyed, how come they're still firing rockets? Why are they not destroyed by now? Because you're going from building to building? Why? Because you're not sure what you're going to do with Gaza once you have it? Why are you not sure? Because you're afraid of what the world is going to say? That is so embarrassing. We're afraid of what the world is going to say. We already know what they're going to say, and they've already said it. What's the difference? Show some leadership. Stop looking over your shoulder to see if people are approving of what you're doing.
Rabbi Friedman, why is it happening in other places now as well? I mean, we understand what the purpose is to destroy Jews. That has been pretty much the evil plan from the get-go. But over Shabbos, basically last weekend, Moscow was attacked by ISIS as well. What is their purpose to attack Russia? What is going on? I mean, it sounds ridiculous. Israel, we understand, but why are they bothering other places?
I'm sure that ISIS wants to conquer the world and make everybody Muslim. There's a very underappreciated and ignored aspect to all of this, and that is religion. You can't destroy a people without destroying their religion. If the religion is right, then they will never be destroyed. If their religion is wrong, why don't we show it?
I'm also a little bit puzzled why during the first voting, China and Russia were actually one of the three that did not vote to stop the war in Gaza. Do you have any explanation? Can you make sense of that?
I think they were realistic and they said it's not going to happen, so what's the point?
And the second time they were persuaded?
And also, if it was their war, they would never stop.
Oh, so they're just being fair?
No, they just couldn't believe that making such a suggestion could even be possible. But then they realized, yeah, if you play politics, it helps to condemn even though nothing happens. It's a PR war, not a real war, as far as they're concerned. The point of it is, are we right or are we not? That's an interesting little story. There was a congregation in San Francisco who needed a rabbi. The rabbi they had, I don't know, was either fired or he moved on to a bigger job. They needed a rabbi. And they couldn't decide who should be the one to choose a rabbi. Who knows, who's a maven on what a rabbi is supposed to be, what a rabbi is supposed to do. So there was this psychiatrist on the board, and they said, you're a psychotherapist, you interview the rabbi. We won't know if he's a holy man, but we'll know if he's sane, because you're a maven on that. So reluctantly, he took the job. But this is what he did. He came to the interview with a stopwatch. When the candidate came in, he started the stopwatch. And he said to the candidate, "Do you believe in God?" And he looked at the stopwatch. If it took more than 15 seconds to say yes, out. You're not a candidate. Interesting. He interviewed many rabbis, and the rabbi he chose was a Chabad rabbi. The only rabbi who could say, of course, not in 15 seconds, in 3 seconds. Ask an Israeli leader, are we right? And start the stopwatch. Start the clock. If it takes more than 5 seconds, out. You're weakening our position. If you hesitate even for seconds, you encourage them. You actually invite the war by being hesitant. And every time you say, we will not harm a civilian, you're being hesitant. You sound unsure of your position, you're unsure of your God, you're unsure of your religion, you're unsure of your presence in the Middle East. That's how it goes in the mind of Muslims. Ask them whether they're right. Doesn't take a second.
Rabbi Friedman, what about our representatives, quote unquote, such as Soros, Schumer, Blinken, are they weakening us, or should we view it differently? Are they weakening our position in the world, our people, who we are?
Do the enemy quote them? Yes. See, even Jews know the truth. They're not anti-Semites, they're Jews. And they say the same thing we're saying. So of course it emboldens them. It's ammunition for them. In the long run, does it make much of a difference? Not really. Jews are very good at whatever they do. And when a Jew is an anti-Semite, he's very good at it. We know that from history. There's always been those Jews who thought that they would be popular with the enemy because they're also anti. They're the first ones to go. Because the enemy don't trust them at all. If you can turn against your people, you can certainly turn against us. So, we just had Purim. The story of Purim is so encouraging. It's so inspiring. This comedian says, "We never forget. We'll never let Haman off the hook. The mention of his name makes us crazy." And you know what? He never killed a single Jew. He planned to. Is that enough reason to have him hanged? Absolutely. If you threaten, you're the enemy. I don't have to wait to see how capable you are. So there's really no difference between Haman and Hitler. Hitler killed millions. Han didn't kill a single one. And they're exactly alike. So what are we waiting for? For Hamas to do something horrific? Firing 100 rockets is not horrific? Oh, by the way, 100 rockets. No fatalities. I can't get over this. How do we not? People say, how come there are no miracles? What do you mean there are no miracles? 100 rockets were fired at Israel. Israel is not that large that you could miss it. It's like missing the side of a barn. They realize that it's miraculous. We don't. The report is, fortunately, no one was killed. Fortunately. We have such good fortune. For the last 18 years, rockets are falling on Israel. And they do nothing except damage buildings. The miracles are absolutely breathtaking. Why don't we have the courage of our conviction? We are right. We have always been right. We've never done anything wrong except that we've been too slow. But one more rocket. Well, the first rocket is not enough.
Rabbi Friedman, but the decision makers, they are the ones who are deciding. I actually wanted to ask you exactly what is in your book about the fact that God gave us the Holy Land, but we have to make it holy. How can we do it right now under the conditions we're in? Is it possible? Is it doable?
Well, God gave Avraham the land of Canaan, Canaan, and Avraham made it holy. Since then, it is the Holy Land. The objective is that the holiness of that land should spread and influence all other lands to become holy as well. We need to export holiness, not oranges, not even technology, not microchips. We need to export holiness to the world. And for that, you need to speak like a teacher. You need to sound like you know what you're saying and that you believe in what you're saying. Now, the representatives were very disappointed that they keep looking over their shoulders to see the public opinion. But if that's the case, then they're also vulnerable to Jewish public opinion. So if Jews all over the world would say, enough already, stop apologizing, stop trying to fool the world into thinking that you're so concerned about their civilians, don't do this. Nobody's buying it. How many times are you going to try this and fail? Do what it takes to win a war like Jews, not like the Geneva Conference.
And how do Jews win?
Aha. Well, the first thing is, you fight a war in order to have peace, not to punish the enemy. Punishment? What does that accomplish? If you don't achieve war, you're just riling people up for the next war. A Jewish way of fighting a war is do what it takes to bring peace and do it as quickly as possible. The policy, let's say, of singling out the leaders and going after them in precision operations, making sure that nobody else gets hurt. Where do you see that in a Bible? Where do you see that in the Bible? Never. It's not Jewish. It's pathetic. The people in Gaza are not innocent. Because without them, Hamas couldn't do what they're doing. So unless the people of Gaza surrender and make it clear that they are not supporting Hamas, then we have to assume that they are. The same was true with Germans during World War II. Were all Germans innocent? Only the army was evil? There is no army without a German people. You can't make that artificial distinction. Like, for example, a guy walking down the street in civilian clothing, coming home from work. Is he a civilian? Well, I got to find out first, what work did he just do? Which factory is he coming from? Did he just produce bullets? If he produces bullets, he's not a civilian. He's part of the war machine. If he produces food packages for the soldiers, he's part of the war machine. If he produces their boots, their mittens, their earmuffs, he's part of the machine. So, if a guy produces bullets, he's the enemy. If he produces helmets, he's the enemy. If he produces boots, he's the enemy. What about the women who produce Nazi soldiers? They're civilians? That makes sense? If you produce boots, you're the enemy. If you produce soldiers, you're a civilian? So this whole notion of not harming civilians, it's so childish. It's so immoral. And more death, more destruction, more war. It is so deeply immoral. Imagine said, we don't consider anyone a civilian. No one. Anyone who's there is going to die. There would be less civilian casualties, not more. Because civilians would know they need to get out of the way. And Hamas would know that having civilians is not going to protect them. So what's more moral? To say we're going to kill your civilians, or to say we're going to protect your civilians? It's so childish. If you say we'll protect your civilians, you're putting civilians in danger and they're going to get killed. So stop trying to be moral like the nations are. Be moral like the Torah is.
Rabbi Friedman, why are people so easily swayed, persuaded? I mean, in 80 years, we have witnessed how easily, and yes, witnessed, because whatever our grandparents told us, we totally trust them because it came from eyewitnesses. And how easily the world can be, the people, forget the world, how each person can easily be swayed, persuaded, corrupted. Why is it so easy? How can it be so easy?
It's an interesting thing. I just spoke about this with a TV crew. Are people basically moral or immoral? It's a tricky question. People are basically moral, but they don't know what morality consists of. In other words, people want to be good, but we don't know what good is. That's a very uncomfortable position to be in. I instinctively, deeply, natively, organically want to be good. So when I hear of a cause that sounds good, I jump on it. Is it good? How are we supposed to know? So the old question, can we be moral without Torah? Everybody says, of course we can. We're good people. Yes, good people without a definition for goodness. So in the name of goodness, and from our instinct to do good, we end up doing horrible things. So again, can you be moral without Torah? It's a trick question. Can you be morally motivated? Yes. Will you end up being moral? Not if you don't know moral from immoral. Do we know moral from immoral? No, we don't. We don't. Thou shalt not murder. We believe in that. Yeah, that's why murderers don't get executed. Because thou shalt not murder. That's immoral. So we have these general ideas. We don't know how to apply them. We don't know how to use them. Is it moral to have abortions, even late term? Well, of course it is. It's being thoughtful and considerate of the woman. Then again, it could be murder. How are we supposed to know? So when we're in the mood to be nice to women, we murder the babies. When the pendulum swings and we're suddenly defending babies, we're going to be horrible to women. How do we know how to be moral? We want to be naturally, but we don't know when right, when is murder wrong, when is being kind beautiful, and when is it destructive. That's why we need the Torah. So winning the war the Jewish way is the only moral way. As quickly as possible and as convincingly as possible. We've killed, 20,000, 30,000, whatever the number is. Has it brought peace? No. Well, then you haven't accomplished anything yet. If you stop now, all the people who died for nothing. Is that moral? Stop the war. And what? It's so immoral to say stop now. You start a war, you bring peace. You don't stop in the middle of a war. It's immoral to the people who have died, and it's immoral to the people who are going to die when the war starts up again, which inevitably it will. So let's go by Jewish morality. It's the only one that's real. And we got to say that, not mumble it. The only morality in the world is the Jewish morality. The only Torah in the world is the Jewish Torah. The only chosen people in the world are the Jewish people. If you can't say that, then don't be a leader. Go hide someplace under a bed.
Rabbi Friedman, amazing. Thank you so, so much. So happy we have leaders like you who can set us straight, and hopefully people hear your message loud and clear. More and more, we're going to keep on repeating it, because apparently it takes more than once to say something like this for it to register and to become internal.
Yeah, it has to come from the people. It's not going to come from the leaders. We don't have those kinds of leaders. So the leader has to be created by the people. So let's send the message. Everybody. We're the chosen people. Tell your leaders to act like a chosen. Not like a member of NATO.
Where we're not welcome anyway, so. Rabbi Friedman, thank you so much. Another amazing, priceless hour of wisdom, inspiration, and we're so grateful for that. Thank you so much. Thank you for everything you're doing for the world. Thank you for this incredible book, To Win a War, The Jewish Way. It's available on Amazon for anyone who is interested. Great, very, very quick, very great read that gives a lot of insight. Thank you so, so much for helping us in this time of need, Rabbi Friedman.
The miracles are coming.
Amen. Thank you. Till next week.